Welcome back to the Sun and Moon Tarot. Today we will find what is good and what is hidden. I hope you're well and staying blessed, enjoying life wherever you are. This is a water sign read, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. If you have those signs highly aspected, or what that actually means is highly prevalent in your chart, then this read is likely for you. If it doesn't resonate, that's okay. Check out your other placements in your birth chart to get a better read. If none of them resonate, that's okay. Check out some other readers. If you are called to watch this at a different season other than Aquarius season, then you can do that. I like to say that my reads are timeless to some extent. We'll be using the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. There will be 3 rows. The first row will be your recent past. The second row will be your current energy. The third row will be your future. Bottom of the deck holds the overall energy for this read, my beautiful water signs. Let's see what this season holds for you. You had quite the romance of a lifetime in your last read, if that resonated for you. There we go. Thank you. All right. So for your first cards, you do have the Knight of Cups, the 7 of Wands, and the Tower. Interesting. So if you're watching this, actually, I'm going to wait on that. We're not going to go on a storyline yet. Excuse me. Okay, water signs. You do have the World and Judgment for your current energy. Good. Why? That was a lot of cards at once. Okay. Interesting. The World, Judgment. Hey, kitty man, please stop. I love you. Please stop. It's loud. The World, the Judgment card, and the 5 of Wands. The future row is the 9 of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the Hanged Man. What is this about? You have 1 clarifying card. Can I get another, please? 1 more. We'll see. Sorry, water signs. I'm trying to get through it today. That is way more than 1. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, 1, please. Dear God. That was a lot of cards. No, thank you. Like at least 6. 2 is too many as well, but I'll take them. So we're going to put them there. You've got 3 clarifying cards. Ew. Sorry, that looks bad. There we go. All right, water signs. I dig that you got the King of Cups for your overall energy, for your overall theme for the storyline of your Aquarius season read. I dig that you got the Queen of Water because, of course, you are, King. I think I said Queen. The King of Water. You are, of course, water signs. So it's cool that you've got the King and the Knight of Cups in your read, in my opinion. I like that. I like that you've got a lot of major arcana. You do have 1 ace, who is a gift from the universe. And we will go over clarifying cards way later. So, what is the King of Cups for you, water signs? It's being truly in your element during this season. I don't know if it's a precursor to your season, you know, like kind of getting prepped for Pisces season, but excuse me, I have to take a drink every once in a while. I'm not always going to remember to say excuse me. However, I'm trying to not be loud on the microphone. So, King of Cups represents emotional control, balance between Heart and head. Emotional balance, right? Cups represent emotional energy, which is a very powerful energy, right? Water moves earth. Water extinguishes fire. Water plays with air. Water is very powerful, and in humans, emotions do the same exact thing, right? Water plays with logic. Water can distinguish, create, can help or end creation slash passion with fire. And with money movement, of course, water is very able to move money, right? So it's just funny to talk about the elements sometimes, and I feel like 555 on the clock. Dig that. It's a very good number to have. Okay. So water signs. You've got the overall story is you being able to move with your emotional energy, you being in your divine masculine energy, meaning that you create a lot of action with your emotional authority, and you're able to cut through things, build, create, to some extent, create flow is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, you're able to create flow during this season, and you're attempting to create things that will create more of a balance for you. In the recent past, you have the Knight of Cups, the Seven of Wands, and the Tower. So the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Water, idealistic thoughts, romantic thoughts. Sometimes it's following your heart, or whatever you would define, okay, my beautiful water signs, whatever you would define as some form of like romanticism or romantic venture is kind of that card a lot of the time. So again, going back to that relationship that was hit on in the last read, I feel like this is a continuance. Okay, well, I did ask for a good read and a continuance if it had good measure. Okay, so I do feel like I actually did get a part 2, which I've never done on my channel before. Dig it. All right, so in the recent past, following your heart in a night energy, okay, so focusing on what is emotional idealism in your life, prioritizing it with that Seven of Wands being the energy of perseverance, mounting a defense, and maintaining control. Why? Because the Tower is after that. The Tower is a people disaster foundational shift. I always like to mention, if you have the chance, especially, never mind actually. Scratch everything I was about to say. Not a good message. Let's focus. Let's focus on this card exclusively. The Tower is the energy of a door closing. Okay? And it's a big door. It's not something tiny. It's not something small. It's you walking away from something that is like foundationally functional in your life, or something that has just been a major part of your life for some time, right? It's walking away from it because you're kind of recognizing potentially where it doesn't allow you to create in your natural energy, whatever it is. So you might be walking away from something that's not balanced. If the last read did resonate for you, then this means that you're potentially... Sometimes tarot is interesting how you learn what people are hiding when you do the reads for them in mind. You might be walking away from a relationship to create a new relationship, and that the new relationship does not know about the other relationship. It's not like a like a home wrecking situation or something like that. It's like you breaking up because you're recognizing where some, or making a shift though to persevere. Okay, if it's not a relationship, if it's like a career, a friendship, a spiritual group, whatever, or a hobby or like activity group or something, excuse me, the energy stands that you are, regardless of what major foundational like door it is in your life, okay? It's something very big with that tower that's coming to an end that you view potentially as something that in the past was ideal. In the past, it did bring you a lot of inner happiness, right? But in the current, it doesn't. Regardless of if it's a relationship or not, regardless who knows what, no matter whatever drama you got going on, water signs, I didn't mean to type into that. Let's focus on that tower, okay? Let's focus on that card. You are very focused on, I'm going to choose things that create emotional happiness. I am going to make shifts that allow for new doors to open. Okay, does that make sense, water signs? So in your current energy, you have the World, the Judgment card, and the Five of Wands. The World's a big deal. The World is that, apparently I'm not supposed to say that, sorry. Okay, instead, the World is harmony. Not completion is not the word that I want to use. That doesn't convey the right message that I'm looking for. It's harmony. It's making the choices to cut things out in your life that don't create harmony versus things that do. This card, I'm gonna say it. I don't know why I would not say it. Fine, I won't say it. All right. This card is very big about like what brings universal harmony in the third dimension. Is that better? Okay. I feel like that's what I'm supposed to say for whatever reason. I'm not supposed to say the definitions on that card. I'm just supposed to make sure that it's very clear that harmony is very present, that you are to be making like decisions that are emotionally sound. Remember, with that King of Cups, what creates emotional control and harmony in your life? Oh, excuse me, sorry. With the Judgment card, you're being forced to reflect. Sometimes it's a full-blown reckoning happening, okay? Like whether you believe in like full-on Judgment Day reckoning level or just straight up you understanding, okay? Because Judgment Day happens is a reference as a theme to some extent, not just as an like a biblical format or in other religions. I'm not supposed to talk about this. Well, fine, we're rambling, I guess. And water signs don't propitiate that all the time, like air signs. So focused on the Judgment card. My bad. Being very awakened, being very clear, having no question anymore in terms of reflecting back on different things, on whatever it is that creates harmony in your life. There might be some form of conflict as you make the shift change. I didn't mean to reference that type of industry or the different industries that do shift changes. That's funny. You might do that. You might, water signs, you might be in any type of job that does like a handoff situation. I have no idea why that matters, but that's super random. But there's some form, back to the message, there's some form of like competition, conflicts. This is, of course, the current reality card as well. So it's like in potentially when you watch this video, or I'm going to go with that. Whenever you watch this video, if you're one of my viewers, that's what that card's referencing, that you're becoming very clear on what creates a sense of harmony. You're becoming very awakened to it. There's no question about it anymore. You're recognizing why there's been conflict potentially in the past and present, etc., and why reality is where it is, because you have to make certain decisions for yourself and others, because again, it's going back to that harmony card. That's like the having the ability to be in harmonious nature truly benefits everyone. And that is a major, that's what I meant by judgment. That's a major like realization for you that like grin and bearing it is actually really toxic. Like dealing with conflict consistently is actually really toxic. And you do need to come to a place where you are in harmony to benefit you and those around you, or it's just not going to work. Doesn't matter what it is. It's because you are a water sign. If this is okay, so if you're watching this and you are not like super into astrology and you don't really understand why this is resonating for you, there's just a message for you. If you're not a water sign, okay, it means that during this season you're embodying the energy of the King of Cups, and that this is going to be playing out in your life as, how do I create universal harmony? How do I, or not how do I, having the true recognition, because the Judgment card is a spiritual gift as well, of like, here, you need to know this. You have to know this to create this. So you need to like be clear on it, regardless of what type of sign you are. You need to be clear on how this matters and why in the current reality. So ultimately the big thing here for you viewers is that harmony is a really big deal in the future. And in the current energy, you're focused on, how do I create that in times of chaos and order, right? Because you want harmony in both situations as much as possible. You want everyone to be feeling like connected and like it is at least the best of the best. Like, not to be perfectionist, but that like everyone does have like a good harmonious connection, rather than everyone having different levels and there being competition because of it. I don't know who needs to hear that, but there's, wow, apparently I'm allowed to say this. There's a bigger thing happening in the world right now where people are recognizing why certain types of competitions are existing in our reality, in our third dimension, and why they're not necessarily necessary. And there's going to be a lot of judgments about that made by people as a whole, by our species as a whole. People are going to be recognizing that we can do things in a more harmonious energy where everyone has what they at least need. Okay, and then we work towards the wants instead of certain groups having everything that they want and could ever dream of, and other groups living in complete survival, right? If that, I don't know who that plays out to, but like for some of you, this is more of a lower end of like you coming into a really harmonious divine relationship where you create more harmony around you, and those around you recognize it as a beautiful thing. And some of you are more so going into a recognition, or excuse me, a learning synchronized journey of what is harmony for the greater good of all. That might play out for both groups. It's going to depend on who you are, what you're into spiritually, like like what. Look, there's so many points here, but like ultimately, as we switch ages and the portal is going to close in the coming months, this is going to be a big lesson for a lot of people, where we do it better. We have to do it better. We can't be living in a complete like place all the time, whether it's in your personal relationships or otherwise, water signs or viewers. You can't consistently be trying to maintain control and maintaining a defense and trying to persevere. Survival. None of us deserve to be living in like that. We should all be in harmony. And there is enough in this world for us all to do that. It's just a matter of like learning and accepting to some extent where we all have to make some changes, right? So you are becoming very awakened to this. To my viewers that this is resonating with, you're going to be becoming very awakened to where things have to change. There's not going to be a question in the current energy during Aquarius season, of course. Aquarians, for my water sign viewers or for viewers in general, if you don't already know, Aquarians are an air sign. So you're currently in, if you're watching this during Aquarius season, you're currently in a logic season, one about learning, one about logic, one about lessons. Okay, like on a grand scheme of things, because there's a lot of other things that play out with that. And also when you get very deep into astrology, your placements also tend to matter else. It's not just about where the planets are and what they're going through and why. It's also what you have placements in and why. So, but I digress. I'm so sorry. Chatterbox air sign over here. Water signs, this is a beautiful read for your future row. You do have the Nine of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the Hanged Man. I think I already mentioned that you do have the Ace of Ear. At the beginning of the read, this is a gift, okay? And I'm going to be very clear with you on multiple points about what this means. I feel like instead of doing definitions, I'm just going to tell you the story actually before I go into definitions, if we even do that. For whatever reason. Okay, so to my beautiful viewers. In the future, there's going to be on again, off again anxiety. Hopefully not extreme anxiety. Hopefully just a recognizing of where lessons have to be learned. But this is almost a warning with the Hanged Man of do not martyr yourself. It's not going to create harmony for you to martyr yourself. You should be taking information on as you are anxious and almost depressed and basically like logically, mentally blocked. You're going to become very clear about why changes had to happen and where you were martyring yourself and why you can't do that anymore. Like, you have to have equal give and take. There's not an option. It is always going to be, like, in terms of spiritual, like, energy, you're always martyring yourself if you're giving to someone that's just a taker. It doesn't matter why. It literally doesn't matter why. If it's toxicity, it's toxicity. And you might go through a moment in the future of, like, while you experience this shift that we spoke of in the recent past, like a major collapse, a major change, the door closing of some sort, you're recognizing in the future, regardless of like some logical pain due to the change, you're recognizing why it was necessary. You're being very clear-minded and sharp-minded about why it had to happen and how you had put yourself potentially in a place of martyring yourself and no longer having control over putting like your emotions first or emotional control because of it. And that always, of course, leads to some negative things, regardless of what your sign is, or signs, or your birth chart. You know, you can't, it's going to take away from you if you can't fill your cup. And you should always be living in harmony. I know I've talked about that a lot in this read, but martyring yourself is not healthy. It's adding to a greater cause that initiates violence in a negative way. So, and it also allows people that should not have that energy that they're siphoning from you to do what they want with it. So you're actually just not actually benefiting anyone. I hope that that makes sense and that that doesn't sound too harsh. But yeah, giving to someone that you shouldn't give to is unfortunately enabling them. I am learning this lesson myself. You have a 22. How about that? Wow. All right, water signs. For your clarifying energy, I know we had a little bit of a flip because it's a sad read almost. But this clarifying energy like circles back to that potential romantic start that we talked about at the beginning of the read and in your Capricorn season read. So you've got the Two of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Two of Cups. Fully adapting in terms of the third dimension to bring in whatever new relationship you want. Whatever's going to benefit you the best and others, because we've already talked about all this with harmony and like how to not martyr yourself, how to have certain boundaries that create your ability to have emotional well-being and emotional control. And the clarifying cards here, you're adapting with this Two of Pentacles. You're adapting in terms of priorities in the third dimension. As he balances those pentacles back and forth, he's actually practicing, like, okay, as you see that this is the infinity symbol, okay? So in his life, as it continues and feeds on, as the serpent continues, right, he is recognizing, or she, what kind of energy that they have to let go of, what things they can no longer put into because it's creating this martyr energy. And I mean, for y'all, most of you got a bit, if you watched the last read, then you got a big, huge relationship coming in that's like literally destined and going to be beneficial for you, for that person, for everyone that you both are around. It's just going to be a really positive thing. And you might be making huge changes in your life with this card to make that happen. It's a really big card because even though it's just a 2, it is literally like, I'm going to let go of this priority or this priority because I want to maintain this. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So being very focused on that energy and being very efficient with it, because you got 2 knights. Being very efficient with the which priorities matter so that you can create this new beginning. Like the new partnership or connection that will replace the one that you just kind of walked away from or have walked away from and are ready to like now initiate something new that's coming in for you, and it will be very beneficial for everyone, for you, for them, for everyone. It'll be a really beautiful thing. And if it's not, oh, I'm not supposed to say that. Okay, excuse me, water signs. I hope you enjoyed the content. Please like, share, subscribe. If you'd like to book with me, you can do so in the email listed in the description box. Thank you so much for your time. I'll see you in the next season.